All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Touch of Class show. My name is Drew Wygand, and we are back on a Monday at 8:05. A little late today. We've got a nice gloomy morning here on the Northeast, up in the New York area. Really quite exciting stuff. We have a week of rain coming up, which should be super exciting. Feeling a little under the weather, was a little sick yesterday, but we're getting back to it, getting back to health. It's almost April. This cold just has to go. I'm sick of it. I'm over it, and I just want to move into warm weather. Really looking forward to the show today. Got some new segments coming today. Some new segments we're going to be trying out. We'll leave those as a surprise at the end of the show. But as for starters, we're going to be going over the Miami Open recap. We've got an international break to cover, some club friendlies. And then from there, we got some transfers and managerial news. Some exciting stuff. How we doing, chat? Good morning, everyone. Let's just hop right into it with the Miami Open. We had the semifinals and finals this weekend for both the men and the women. Let's start with the men, though. Semifinal number one, we had Arthur Fils facing off versus Yuri Lehechka. And let's just say things went pretty south pretty quickly for Arthur Fils. He was absolutely gassed after playing a three-setter versus Tommy Paul. All three sets going to the tiebreak, and the match was roughly 2 hours and 45 minutes, which for a three-set tennis match is incredibly long, brutally long, and Fils unfortunately was just unable to maintain that level going into this semifinal. It was his first Masters 1000 semifinal, so still a huge achievement for him. He'll still be getting a good amount of points as we start to head into the next swing, the clay swing. Now, Lehechka, on the other hand, who was previously ranked number 21 going into this tournament, now moves into the top 15. I believe he's ranked number 14 now, and he is playing some fantastic tennis, as a matter of fact. The next semifinal we had was Sasha Zverev versus Jannik Sinner. And this is just becoming a regular occurrence now. We had them play at Indian Wells in the semifinal just a couple short weeks ago. And now we have the same outcome in Miami. Zverev actually played unreal tennis. It's just unfortunate that he lost this match 6-3, 7-6. I believe in that second set, the Tennis Channel said that Zverev was playing at a 9.5 rating and Sinner was playing at a 9.3 rating. So even though you outplay this man, he is still going to defeat you because he grinds you down point after point, makes you question every shot, and is just so consistent with his style of play until he mixes in a drop shot, and then you're dead to rights. Zverev is really in such an unfortunate position as a player right now because if you take away Grand Slams, he looks like a fantastic player, one of the best to ever do it. He's won numerous Masters 1000 titles. He's just unable to get over that hump in the Grand Slam era, and I don't think that he's going to be able to do it because he can't take down both Carlos and Jannik. He can't even take down one of them at the moment. He can't beat Carlos or Jannik, but the fact that he would have to beat both on his way to a Grand Slam title just doesn't seem likely. I think his best chance at winning it would be if one of them is injured in the draw and the other one gets knocked out and he just doesn't have to face either of them. But the odds of that happening are not very high. Jannik Sinner moves on to the final to face Yuri Lehechka, which occurred late yesterday. Now, before we cover the final, I just want to say the Miami Open is an absolute disaster. It is so disgusting that they don't have a roof that they can close. This event has become all about money. It's all about greed and how much money that the ATP can make from hosting the final, the semifinals, and the big matches in the Miami Hard Rock Stadium, which sure it looks cool, but if you notice that stadium was not packed out a single time throughout the duration of this event. It was embarrassingly empty for the women's semifinal on Saturday or on Friday, and on on Thursday, I believe it was, and then on Saturday for the women's final, still wasn't super packed. Even for the Sinner and Lehechka match, it wasn't packed out. And anytime you have Sinner or Alcaraz on main court, it's packed out. Now, the second reason is because the rain is such a big issue. We saw it last year a little bit, but this year especially, the amount of delays that the Miami Open had because of rain was staggering. It forced the tournament to be much shorter, more compact. Yesterday in the final alone, they got one set in before the rain came, and then there was a delay for roughly an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. The players had to go off court, and it slows everything down. And in the modern day, to not have a roof over an area where rain is expected most of the time just makes no sense. They got to do something with the Miami Open. I think maybe just building a whole new stadium in general near that area could be the result, the way forward. But ultimately, I think it should be switched out for a different Masters 1000, but we'll get into that a bit later. Now, back to the real final. Lehechka actually hadn't been broken. His service hadn't been broken going into this final, which I believe is the longest anyone's gone unbroken in a Masters 1000 since Novak Djokovic in 2018, if I am correct in that stat that I saw on the TV. But it only took his second service game for Jannik Sinner to step up, break his serve, win pretty handily in that third game of the match, and from there on out, it was just about Jannik holding serve. He got that first break out of the way, and that first set was wrapped up pretty simply. Both were serving very well. Jannik was messing around a little bit. It seemed like going down 0-30, or love 30, I should say. But ultimately, it is Jannik who comes out of that first set victorious. Then we had the delay. Everything seemed to be thrown off in terms of the players' rhythm. Both came back out and looked a little shaky. But after that long rain delay, it seemed as though, I don't want to say Jannik wasn't completely focused. It just seemed as though he was just trying some different shots, was trying to maybe go for more aces on his serve. His first serve percentage dipped. He wasn't winning as many points on his first serve, and he kept finding himself down in that love 30 hole. And every time he did, you see Darren Cahill, his coach, stand up and give him some words of encouragement and kind of be like, "All right, dude, come on. What are we doing here? Like, let's figure it out now. All right, let's play some tennis." And after that, he sort of locked in. He kind of became more aware of his current surroundings and the fact that he might actually win the Sunshine Double if he just quickly locked in. Ultimately, he finished off Lehechka pretty simply, again, winning 6-4 in that second set, winning 6-4, 6-4 in the match altogether. And he is the first man to complete the Sunshine Double since Roger Federer back in 2017. He's the first Italian ever to win the Sunshine Double. He continues his Masters 1000 set streak. This is now up to 34 sets in a row this dude has won. Not bad for a guy who's in bad form. That translates to roughly 17 matches straight if you want to do some quick math, which is just ridiculous. It dates all the way back to the Paris Masters 1000 from, what was it, believe December? Not exactly sure when that takes place, but an incredible feat from him. I believe only 3 players ever have won 3 Masters 1000 in a row. Not 100% sure on this, but Novak Djokovic and Rafael Nadal are the other two, and Sinner now joins tennis royalty in that feat. Incredible stuff from him. It's just ridiculous the level of tennis that he's playing at the moment. Him and Carlos are just that much higher above everyone else. It's incredible that we're not seeing more Syncraz yet this season. But as we move on to clay and the next swing begins, I think we might start seeing it a little bit more. Now, just a week from today, next Monday, we have the Monte Carlo Masters 1000 starting up, the first really big clay tournament, one of the more picturesque tournaments on the tour. Monaco is absolutely gorgeous, and I am super excited for that. Now, on the women's side, Arena Sabalenka also completes the Sunshine Double as she wins 6-2, 4-6, 6-4 over Coco Gauff. This is actually Coco Gauff's first loss in a hard court final. She was previously 5-0. She now falls to 5-1 as Sabalenka is having an incredible 2026. I mean, I'm not sure exactly when the last time uh, both male and female players won the Sunshine Double. I think it was 2015-16. I'm not 100% positive on that, but incredible stuff from Sabalenka. I mean, ever since that engagement, she's just been on an absolute heater. Her point tally this year is so drastically big. I mean, she's already gone to the semifinal or the finals, I should say, of the Australian Open, losing out to Elena Rybakina. Now winning Indian Wells, winning Miami, and she's only just getting started. I think we'll see at least another Grand Slam title, maybe 2 under her belt this season. Jannik Sinner and Arena Sabalenka, major congratulations to both of you. Unfortunate for Coco and Yuri Lehechka as they just lose out so close to a title, but both playing great tennis again at the moment. I believe Coco Gauff is up to number 4 in the world for on the women's side. Nice to see some American tennis players all at the top with Pegula, Anisimova, Coco Gauff, Madison Keys, along many others. Now, that's all we have for tennis. A rather quick segment on tennis today, as the Miami Open was really everything that we had going on. That's wrapped up, and we just have a couple of ATP 250s this week before, obviously, that Masters 1000 tournament after Easter. Now, just to move on to some international footy, we had some club friendlies this weekend. Now, I just want to make sure that I covered all the club friendlies in my notes. I believe so, but just to double check, we are going to do a quick look. I believe I have everything from Saturday covered. I've also pulled up some results from Sunday. But the results from Saturday, some big games. We had Canada play Iceland. That ended in a 2-2 draw. Canada getting some preparation in before, obviously, one of the hosts of the World Cup get going this summer. We had Hungary facing off versus Slovenia. They win 1-0. Also, this international break, Dominik Szoboszlai had a statue unveiled of him as the Hungarian. Looked a little bit shocked at the statue. I want to see if I could find the statue real quick to pull up on the overlay. He didn't look too impressed with it, and to be honest, the statue is a little interesting. I believe it's supposed to be more of an artwork, they said, rather than an actual depiction of what he is supposed to look like. Let's see if we can If we can pop this up here. Going on the fly with this one. There we go. Again, it's not the best statue. It might be the worst. Who knows? But the video of them unveiling it is just, it's just so funny. You see his face go from such a big smile to just complete like, what? Like, what the hell is that? Anyway, super cool for him to be in that situation. Obviously, he is treated like royalty over in Hungary. And for good reason. He's a very good footballer. Now back to the international friendlies. Scotland faces off versus Japan. Japan wins this one 1-0. USA squared off against Belgium. And this USA side did not look very convincing. Now, I will say, as a United fan, I am very happy to see Senne Lammens play the way he did. Had some incredible saves as Belgium go on to win this one 5-2. A little bit worrying for USA. I'm not sure if we played our strongest squad, but definitely a little worrying considering I wouldn't peg Belgium as one of the better teams going into this World Cup. Now, again, it's just a friendly. Anything can happen in a friendly, but maybe some cracks in the foundation for this Team USA. Next, we had Mexico versus Portugal, and this ended in a 0-0 draw. Nothing too exciting. Watch some of the highlights. Bruno Fernandes should have had an assist. Gonçalo Ramos had a pretty easy ball fed to him by Bruno Fernandes, an absolutely unreal pass. I don't know how he even saw it, and unfortunately Ramos just was unable to put it in the back of the net, and this one ends in a stalemate. Senegal faced off versus Peru and win that one 2-0. Meanwhile, South Korea played Ivory Coast, and Ivory Coast put an absolute beat down on them, winning 4-0. Big win for them. Some other results around the club friendlies. We had Georgia versing off against Lithuania, winning 2-0. Kvaratskhelia, obviously the captain of that Georgian side. We had France facing off versus Colombia, and they won 3-1 in that one. This French side looks absolutely terrifying going into that World Cup. I mean, you think of the firepower, and it's just, it really is scary, the players that they're going to be fielding. France, obviously, always one of the better teams in the World Cup, but this year in particular, that squad is looking very, very tasty. Spain, another team that looks to be one of the favorites of the World Cup heading into the summer. It should be a fantastic World Cup this year. I'm really excited for it. 48 teams. Not as much buzz around the World Cup as one would expect, especially for being on American soil, but you really just hope that things get better. You really hope that things get better. That's all we have for international footy. Some international friendlies as we continue this international break. I believe play returns to the Premier League next weekend, if I am not mistaken. Let me quickly pull up when the fixtures are back. Oh, no, we have another weekend of international break. Whoop-de-doo. Gotta love these international breaks that are a couple weeks long. Just makes you yearn for more Premier League. It's pretty tough. Now, we head into the transfer and managerial news. We've got some hot new transfer stories off the press for this weekend. Some exciting new rumors. We've got stuff sourced from the likes of Yahoo News, Fabrizio Romano, David Ornstein, as well as Ben Jacobs. All incredible in-the-know journalists covering transfer new rumors this spring and summer. Let's just hop right into it. We had Mohamed Salah announce that he will not be returning to Liverpool next season and that he will be on his way out the door this summer. Now, that makes things extremely tough for Liverpool as they will need to replace both the left wing and the right wing this summer to bolster that attack. Now, there are rumblings that Doué and Barcola from PSG could be among interest for Liverpool, which would be fantastic signings for them. I think both are absolutely incredible players for PSG, so young yet so exciting. And if Liverpool can land one of them, it would really be a big move. Jan Diamonde of the Ivory Coast out of Leipzig is also being mentioned, but many clubs will be in for him. Manchester United being another club highly sought after for the young Ivorian as well. Now, it's going to be tough to get this deal done for Manchester United, but Christopher Vivell, obviously high up in Manchester United's ranks, has very good relationship with RB Leipzig as he was, I believe, the director of football there. Not positive, but he's now head of scouting at Manchester United, and he will obviously have those links to RB Leipzig. So hopefully we can get that deal over the line. Liverpool also going after Olise from Bayern, and if they can get him, then that would be absolutely terrifying. The young Frenchman was in the Premier League just a year ago as he was the Crystal Palace talisman, and now he has been absolutely lighting it up over in the Bundesliga as he looks for a potential return home to the Premier League. If Liverpool can sign him, that would be very dangerous and very terrifying for the rest of the Premier League opposition. We had reporting that Enzo Fernandez wants to live in Madrid one day. He's quoted saying, hinting at a possible exit to the Spanish capital, likely to be for Real Madrid. And if that move happens, then Chelsea would just be an absolute shambles as they would have to look for a new midfielder. They can't really plan on that this summer. They were slapped with allegations. I don't think that 1-year transfer ban will go into effect this summer. I think it was suspended, but they will have to be careful, especially as I believe it was the most recent quarter financials that they had a 300 million net loss on their books. So they might have to sell a player, and everyone thought it was going to be Cole Palmer, but it's looking more and more likely that it could be Enzo Fernandez. And if Real Madrid come knocking, it's going to be very tough to hold him back. Now, on the other hand, for Chelsea, if they do have to sell Enzo Fernandez to Madrid, it looks like they could get a pretty healthy fee for him. I believe they paid £100 million roughly for him when he first transferred to Chelsea. Might have been a little bit more than that. Let's do a quick look on how much they paid for him. In the meantime, let's hear in the chat some of your center mid replacements for Chelsea if they do get rid of Enzo Fernandez. Some interesting players that Chelsea could join the race for, like Elliot Anderson and Sandro Tonali, if he does go. Let's see. It is reported, wow, they paid 121 million euros for Enzo Fernandez, which is a very, very healthy sum of cash. Really, really going to need to sell him for a decent fee to recoup some of that. But we move on to Miles Lewis-Skelly out of Arsenal, and it is coming hot off the press that Manchester United might be interested in the left back of Arsenal. Young Englishman, he hasn't been playing much this season, as we've seen Calafiore and some other players. I think Hincapié might have been playing there a couple times, but that position is all but locked up for Calafiore going forward for this Arsenal side. It's going to be tough for Lewis-Skelly to really get any starting time. On the other side of things, Manchester United are in dire need of a left back. Unfortunately, Dorgu is still out injured. I believe he is coming back, though, after this international break, but again, he seems more of a left winger than a left back. I mean, he was playing as an attacking wing back under Emrim. Then under Carrick, we saw him push to the left wing. He started scoring some absolutely stunning goals for Manchester United before he unfortunately picked up that injury. I just don't see him being molded back into a left back after the start that he's had at left wing under Carrick. I think that Carrick will really like to see him there. And that means that we'll need a left back because even though Luke Shaw is under contract for another year, you cannot trust that lad to be healthy in a non-World Cup / Euro year. I mean, the amount of injuries that he picks up is diabolical. It seems like the dude is never fit unless there's a chance for him to be called up to that England squad. So Lewis Skelly and Lewis Hall, two Lewises, are among the likes of candidates for Manchester United this summer. Also in the news, Casemiro has doubled down on his stance that he will not be returning back to Manchester this fall, which is extremely sad to see him go. I think that this kind of farewell season he's been having has been unreal for Manchester United, but it also helps that he's only playing one game a week. I don't think he has the legs anymore to play 2 games a week, and unfortunately for him and for us, that means his departure is imminent. There are rumblings that he will be joining Inter Miami in the United States in the MLS, and that squad would just be just so stacked getting in Casemiro, as they already have the likes of Messi, Busquets, Jordi Alba, and Luis Suarez as well. I believe he's still there, if I am not mistaken. But man, that Inter Miami squad is just collecting old European greatness, and it seems to be working out in their favor. More news about Tonali coming out that he is interested in a move this summer. I believe he would ideally like to go back to Italy, but unfortunately those Italian clubs just won't be able to keep up with the Premier League clubs, what they're going to offer him salary-wise, what they're going to offer Newcastle in terms of a transfer fee. It's unfortunate for Newcastle and for Tonali, but if he's open to a move in the Premier League, he's going to get a good one. The likes of Manchester United, Manchester City, and Arsenal all vouching for the Italian's signature, as he is just only 26 years of age. He is looking to be one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, and it's finally time for a big move for him. I think Newcastle had originally paid $55 million for him, so they will be looking to get probably double that, between the range of 90 and 100 million. And I personally think that United should be all over this deal. I mean, what a player he is. He is the talisman for Newcastle. He looks like the talisman for Italy as he tries to get them into the World Cup via the qualifiers. And there are just not enough good things to say about him. It's heating up a bit on the Elliot Anderson front, as Manchester United say they are allegedly going all out for either Tonali or Anderson. Really hoping we get one, and maybe the other one of them is off to Manchester City. Maybe Arsenal lose out just because they're unable to offer a starting spot to either one. I mean, you've got the likes of Zubimendi, who was just brought in for a healthy fee of roughly 70 million, and Declan Rice, obviously, and then what are you going to do? Put Odegaard or Eze to the bench? I don't see it happening. So Manchester City and Manchester United are able to offer a starting spot to both of those players. It seems as though Rodri might be out the door. It seems as though Bernardo Silva might be out the door. Tijani Reinders is finding it hard to adapt this season. He's been in and out of the starting 11. So some Premier League proven talent might just be exactly what Manchester City needs. And Tonali and Elliot Anderson are definitely fitting the bill. Now let's move on to some managerial news, as we had Igor Tudor leave Tottenham Hotspurs. Hotspurs. I believe this was on his own accord. I'm not positive. If you look at all the media outlets covering it, it doesn't say he was sacked. It instead says that he's left the Tottenham Hotspurs, and Tottenham are wasting no time. I believe that they have, a short interim leading training this week, just someone that they could grab to coach the players. But as of reporting this morning, it seems as though Roberto De Zerbi is on his way to Tottenham, which would be a big signing for them. Let me just pull this up real quick. This is coming from Ben Jacobs via Alex Crook on Twitter. Roberto De Zerbi is now close to an agreement with Spurs following a breakthrough in talks. 5-year contract on offer. De Zerbi had told Spurs last week he wanted to wait until the summer, but a long, lucrative deal has made him open to taking the job now. A 5-year contract for De Zerbi would be an absolutely incredible hire for Tottenham. I think that he is their level. I know Manchester United were in talks with him, but it seems as though he is off to London to coach the Tottenham Hotspurs. Now, I don't think that he would have been necessarily the best hire for Manchester United. I just don't think he fits exactly what we need. I think he is more of a mid-table type of club managerial hire, and unfortunately for Tottenham, that's where they aspire to be right now. It's hard to argue that they want to be in the Champions League when they're quite literally battling relegation. I understand that they were in the Champions League this year, but that's only because they had beaten an absolutely horrendous Manchester United side in the UEFA Europa League last year. But last year, everyone seems to forget they did finish, 16th in the Premier League, and now this year they're going for an even more low, potentially even getting relegated. On the bright side, De Zerbi is fantastic at coaching young talent. I think he is going to be an ideal fit there, and I think he can get them playing better football. And if they do stay up, I think he'll get them in the top half of the Premier League next year if they're able to retain some of their bigger players. Now, in other managerial news, apparently Luis Enrique has taken himself out of the race for Manchester United manager, which is so disheartening to hear. I mean, he was number one on my list. He was the ideal candidate to take over this job. He plays free-flowing, attacking football. It's exciting. He is incredible with dealing with young talent, with the youth, and I think that's what Manchester United need right now. It's just unfortunate that I don't think we could offer him everything that he wants. At PSG, he is given the keys to the Bugatti, it seems. He can sign any player that he pleases. He can do basically anything, and under the Glazer and Ineos ownership, it just seems like he would be held back. The two managers left on Manchester United's radar are obviously Michael Carrick, the interim right now, which I don't think would be a good hire for us. I just think we've seen this story before with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ineos said that they wanted to hire best in class. Michael Carrick is not best in class. He got sacked by bloody Middlesbrough and hasn't been in a job since. It's just kind of embarrassing the way that we're running this managerial process. The only other candidate left that would be enticing to me is Julian Nagelsmann out of Germany. Yes, he was fired from Bayern Munich, but he's still an incredible manager. I believe he even won the title with them. They just have miraculous standards, and I think he was just thrown out because they weren't playing the type of way that Bayern want to play. I think that he is an exciting young coach, someone that could really build something and be around for a while. If United go the Carrick route, then it just seems like the first few losses that Carrick picks up next season, for example, say we start The first 5 games, winning one, drawing one, and losing three, there will be fans calling for Carrick out just because of what we've seen in the past with Ole. Like, we've seen this story before. The interim manager goes on an absolutely terrific run, and then once they are hired for the full time job, you don't see the brand of football that you are expecting to see, and things start to go south, and it's hard to fire a club legend. We've seen it before. But that is everything we have for managerial and transfer news. And normally I would say let's wrap up the show, but today we have a new surprise segment that we're trying out, and it's going to be some Premier League and tennis hypotheticals. Now, we're going to start with the Premier League, and I'll pose this question to the chat and anyone that might be watching this as a video after it goes up, after I'm finished being live. If you could swap any manager in the world for your club right now, who would it be? And let me also tweak that a little bit. Let me say you have to swap some manager. So if you're a City fan, you can't say, oh, I wouldn't swap anyone, I'd keep Pep. If you're an Arsenal fan, you can't say I wouldn't swap anyone, I'd keep Arteta. You have to swap someone. Who would you swap? Can't waiting for United to fatten up Lewis Skelly. No. Luke Shaw did that all on his own accord. He just went to a Nando's too many times. Too many cheeky Nando's for Luke Shaw. Too many burgers and fries. Lewis Skelly would stay nice and fit for United, you know? I think that to go from a smaller club like Arsenal to take that leap to a really big club would do a lot for Lewis Skelly. But if you could swap any manager for your club right now, I'm curious to see who you would pick. As a United fan, I think nailed on, I would swap for Luis Enrique in a heartbeat. I think he is the perfect guy to take over Manchester United. He has the charisma. He's managed big clubs like the likes of PSG and Barcelona. He can handle the media. I think that he would be absolutely ideal. Now, even though I am a Manchester United fan, I will give some perspectives of some other clubs. If I'm Chelsea, this is a hear me out for sure, but hear me out. If I could swap Liam Rosenior for any manager in the world right now, I am 100% going back to Thomas Tuchel. I'm not sure he would take the job, but I think that he would get this Chelsea team back on track. I think he was unfairly fired. I think that was a way too quick decision. I mean, he had just won the freaking Champions League. What was that, a year prior? And you're going to go and sack him just for some bad results after they had some questionable summer signings? I think that Thomas Tuchel back at Chelsea would do absolute bits there. Now, if you don't like that answer, then I would also offer you Cesc Fabregas. I think Fabregas has done wonders with Como this season in the Serie A. I mean, I want to take a look at where they are in the table, but I believe they're in the top 5, which is incredible stuff. They're currently sitting in 4th position. Como, a team that, you know, I believe were playing in the Serie B just a few years ago, have now overtaken the likes of Italian giants Juventus, Roma, Atalanta, and Lazio to move into that top 4, potentially earning themselves Champions League football. I think that Fabregas would be an unbelievable coach. Now, if I'm Liverpool, I think the ideal managerial hire would be Xabi Alonso. I think that he knows the club. I think that he is such a good manager. He was unfairly fired from Real Madrid. I mean, he won the title with Leverkusen in the Bundesliga, a league that is predominantly won by Bayern Munich almost every single year. And he did it in pretty incredible fashion. I mean, they were playing amazing football. He then went to Real Madrid, and unfortunately, player power at Real Madrid is just too high at the moment. He was sacked very early on. I don't even know what their record was in the league when he was sacked, but it was just way too quick, in my opinion. I think it was only 6 months he was there in charge. And I think if Liverpool could get their hands on him, he would be brilliant. Now, if I'm Arsenal and I'm hiring a manager, this is kind of tough because I think Arsenal's squad is built for the way Arteta plays. He has the center backs he requires, they have a great midfield. Their attack is a little lackluster, but again, hear me out. If I'm Arsenal with the squad that they currently have, tell me that Pep Guardiola wouldn't have them playing in a better way. I know. He's the Man City manager, and Arsenal fans would probably despise that. An interleague move from Manchester City to Arsenal sounds disgusting, but let me tell you, Pep would get that team playing so beautifully. We've seen him line up with multiple center backs for Manchester City before, so I think he would love having the likes of Timber, Calafiori, Hincapié, Saliba, and Gabriel to choose from in a back line. Obviously, Pep likes messing around with his formation. I think that he would love Zubamendi at the holding midfield position. I think he could do some really brilliant stuff with Declan Rice and either Odegaard or Eze. If you give him Saka, he'll turn him into a much better creator. He won't be focused on just corner kicks. He would actually have them whipping in balls and creating chances for Gyökeres. I think he would make him better. And I just think that he would be the ideal hire for Arsenal if they could go and nab anyone. Now, if Arsenal get Pep, that means that City have to get someone else. And I think if you're Manchester City, realistically, the only guy right now that I would take to replace him is the Don himself, Carlo Ancelotti. I think that Ancelotti at City would just kind of be like Ancelotti at Real Madrid. You let the players speak for themselves. You are able to handle world-class talent. You're able to handle the superstars. And Ancelotti knows what it means to win. I mean, the comebacks he had alone against Manchester City in the Champions League are pretty historic. I believe that they won the Champions League when they came back and had a 1% chance of winning when they scored both when Rodrigo scored those two goals in the 90th minute in stoppage time against Manchester City. What was that? 2021, 2022 maybe. Just unbelievable stuff. I think Ancelotti is really the only guy that Manchester City could hire and think to themselves, okay, this isn't actually a step down. If anything, it's more of a lateral move because Ancelotti really is one of the best managers of all time. Let me know down in the comments below if you are a fan of a Big Six team or any team for that matter, who you would swap your manager out with if you were forced to and you couldn't keep your current manager right now. Now, as for the tennis hypothetical, if you could swap one Masters 1000 with another tournament, which would you choose and why? Now, you have to sub a Masters 1000 out. And I think there's a couple that you could look at. I think that you could look at Shanghai, but then again, I think the Asian swing needs a Masters 1000. I think you could look at maybe Paris, but that's a nice indoor Masters 1000 towards the end of the season. I personally would swap out Miami because the Sunshine Double, whilst it is fun, Indian Wells is just a much better tournament. It has so much more hype. It just feels better. The players talk about how much they love Indian Wells and what it means to them. It almost feels like if there ever were to be a fifth major, that's where it would be because of the way players speak about that tournament. And Miami just doesn't have that same pull. It's lackluster. It rains a lot. They switched the venue from where it used to be, was it Miami Gardens or something like that? I'm not positive what the old site was called. But now it's at Hard Rock Stadium. It feels lifeless. It feels more of like an influencer event. It doesn't feel like real tennis passion. The stadium's empty. It's ridiculous. I personally, now if you've seen this video before, you'll know my answer. I would 100% make a grass Masters 1000, and in doing so, I would make it Queen's Club. I think that that tournament is built to be a Masters 1000. The venue is beautiful. They have the courts to do it. It would be incredible to have a Masters 1000 on grass, and it's a tournament that every player plays in already as they get ready for Wimbledon. So why not have the Queen's Club be a Masters 1000? The grass swing is not long enough, and if you at least give it a Masters 1000, I think it kind of suffices for now. Now, it's just a simple switch. All you do is make Miami an ATP 500 level event, and then you make Queen's Club an ATP Masters 1000. It's a simple fix. You don't have to adjust the schedule a whole lot. If you wanted to lengthen the grass season, go ahead and check out my video on that and how that would be done. But you wouldn't have to do much, and it would make the whole year, I think, that much more exciting, because Wimbledon and the grass swing in general is just too short in my opinion. But like I said, giving it that Masters 1000 would give it that extra juice. It would give it that extra something to play for, and I think players would very much welcome this change. Well, that's all that I have. Tried out this new segment, the hypotheticals. Let me know what you guys think in the chat and down below. Leave your thoughts on which manager you would swap with your club and which Masters 1000 you would swap out for another, and why. Thank you everyone for watching. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like and subscribe to the channel. I am live every Monday at 8 a.m., maybe a minute or two after if I'm a little late. But give me some thoughts on videos you guys would like to see. I've never asked this question before. Usually I come up with the ideas, but sometimes it's a little tough. I've got some video ideas in mind. I'm trying to get this Arsenal video over the line. I haven't finished it yet. It's just you'll see the video soon. I'm in the editing stage right now, but that will come out soon. Give me some ideas on what you guys would like to see, though, as, you know, you're the audience. Want to make sure that your guys' voice are heard. But my name is Drew Wygant. This has been the Touch of Class show, and we'll see you guys next time.